what's your name?
My name is Joanna Zarach.
How old are you?
I am 46 years old.
Do you have any fun facts about you?
Probably have lots of fun facts. I am originally from Poland. I went to, I used to own 2 greyhounds. I am a mom of twins. I worked on the Obama campaign. I don't know if that's a fun fact, but it's a fact. Yeah.
Did you have any struggles in life as a woman?
Yeah, I've had lots of struggles. Specifically as a woman, I think a lot of time I picked fields that were predominantly men. So math and computer science, for example, when I was younger, a lot of times I was the only girl or one of the fewer girls, and generally in science. And pursuing studies like graduate school. When I worked at my first job at a consulting company, there was mostly men. And when you have to really be like better, you have to work harder and be better to be respected and to like prove yourself. And but you can't be like too mean. You have to be still nice, even if you have like a point that you need to get across.
What college did you go to?
I went to MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Did you do anything after that?
Yeah, I went to graduate school. I got a PhD in neuroscience it took me about 5.5 years to do that.
What was it like running your own business as a woman?
So I've had my own consulting business for the last 14 years. And it's at the beginning, it was like I wasn't sure exactly what I was supposed to do. So I had to learn a lot and take a lot of risks and chances. And I did a lot of stuff by myself just to learn and figure it out. And I used a lot of resources, but I also asked for help, like asked for advice. And and then I just started believing that I can do it. But a lot of times the challenge is you're not really sure if you're doing it right or what you're supposed to do next and if you're going to get the next project. So it's always like a challenge. But if you do it a few times, you start believing in yourself and you know that you can do it, that like get the next project and keep going.
Do you have any passions or things you're really passionate about?
Do I have things I'm passionate about? Yeah, I'm passionate about like women's rights and equality and like giving people opportunities and giving people access to opportunities, both education, but also business, and helping people understand how like the world works, especially when it comes to like the economics and corporate world, so that people understand that they need to like step into like positions of power more and take more chances.
How do you support your passions and help them?
So over the years, I've been involved in like initiatives at work with like women's initiatives to gather women and give younger women advice. I've met up with younger women and given them mentoring. I've participated in like panels or just again giving advice one-on-one or speaking to people. Speaking to women about money and finances as well, and then helping anybody that would ask for that needs it. If people are struggling with their finances or with career choices, I'm always happy to take the time and give people advice and listen to what they're struggling with and try to guide them.
What was it like immigrating and being an
Immigrating is a hard thing to do because you're leaving everything that you know behind and a lot of family and friends, and you go to a new country. So it's actually a really, really difficult and stressful process. And people only immigrate because they hope to find something better. Not everybody finds something better, but for me, it got really like the combination of luck and hard work. I was really able to make the most out of the opportunities given to me, but I had to work really hard. And it was really hard at the beginning because I didn't speak English, and it was hard to also like socially acclimate, like make friends and understand how things work and like be included in things because you're just kind of an outsider.
What was it like to be in high school and not know English?
It was really hard. I was really taking the. I had to work extra hard. I had to work harder than all the other classmates because I had to do a lot of translating. So I spent a lot more time on my homework than other kids, and like didn't do any fun stuff. I just worked using the dictionary because we didn't have internet. So I had to use a paper dictionary to translate a lot of the words that I didn't know. And then I just really focused on the stuff that I was good at, and then I asked for extra help. And like the teachers knew that I didn't speak English, so they wouldn't call on me because it was really hard to speak. Because reading is easier than speaking when you're learning a different language. So it was really hard for the first couple years, but then I got really good at English, and so the second 2 years of high schools were much easier because I was used to really working hard, so I was excelling at everything I was doing.
What was your household like as a child?
My household was a little bit chaotic. We had a lot of uncertainty in our household, both from like living in Poland where there wasn't a lot of resources. So there wasn't always like food available or like clothes. So it was kind of a struggle for everybody, but also my family. My dad was a political activist, so sometimes he wasn't available because he was in jail as a political prisoner. So the house was like, it was really hard. We had to rely on other people, and I think my mom had a hard time with 3 kids, so we had to like spend time with relatives for months at a time. So I had to become independent really early on, and then same with immigrating. I had to like take on more responsibility as a kid than I would otherwise do, and that's typical of an immigrant of immigrant children because you're usually learning to speak English. Maybe you're getting the social cues better, so you end up doing more like adult work even though you're a child.
How did you feel as a child when you had to be independent so early?
I think like sometimes I was lucky, like nothing bad happened to me, but like I had to be on myself. So sometimes I felt like I looked around and other people had maybe their parents around them, and I was just by myself. So at the time, it felt like independent. I was proud of myself because I was able to rise up to the challenges. But that's part of my personality, and like, but it really set this pattern of always trying to do things by myself and independently, and that kind of informed some of my career choices. So it's like for better or for worse, I'm extremely independent. But I think at the time, I just felt like I do what I had to do, and there wasn't really anybody I could count on. So I just had to kind of rise to the occasion. So it probably was hard, but at the time, I didn't realize like how hard it was.
Earlier, you brought up that you didn't have a lot of money as a child. How did it feel to be in poverty as a child?
It's really hard when you don't have the same resources as like your peers, because if you're going to school, you're probably not going, like I don't think I ever went on any like trips that other people went. Like in high school, people go not just like on like field trips, like trips to maybe another city, or even some people went to other countries, and I never went to those. So like you just don't feel like you can participate in everything, so you miss out a lot when you don't have the resources. You also don't have like clothes to fit in with other kids, so you feel kind of like you're a little bit on the outside. Maybe you don't even have like the right sneakers, like even good sneakers, so even if you're doing sports, you don't have all the right equipment. So it's really hard, and it's easy to like give up because you can be like embarrassed, or you just don't have the stuff. So sometimes you have to rely on other people to maybe help you, and then sometimes you might suffer a little bit because of it.
What were you good at as a child?
I was really good at math, and then I was really good at school in general. So like learning in school. So that was like a good thing because I was able to put energy into something that everybody recognized as valuable. Like if I have other talents, sometimes people get discouraged if people don't recognize it. So it happened that my skills and talents and hard work were in school and math. So yeah.
How does it feel to be so successful, and do you feel like you're successful?
So I do feel like I'm successful. But success I think is really broad because it's not just like you can be successful in many ways, and so I feel like I've been successful not just in my work life but in my personal life. Like I have a family and I have kids, and we spend time together, and we have a building a really like nice life, that's on multiple fronts. And I also have like friends, and I do activities. And so I feel like I have overcome a lot of challenges over my lifetime as an adult. And I've become successful. But success is really how you define it. So for me, it's having control over my time, still doing projects that are valued by people and that are paid for, and then being able to contribute to my family as well.
Did you ever get shamed for being a woman?
I don't I don't know that specifically. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. I'm sure it happened, but I was very because I was very independent and have had a lot of confidence in my skills. I was like I didn't have as much issue, and I was also pretty private. I think like the things that I can think of is when I was doing a project right after I had kids. I didn't tell the clients that I had kids because you guys were so young, and I just kind of kept it to myself that you guys were babies and daddy was staying with you as I was traveling. And I didn't tell anybody almost till the end of the project. And they were like, oh, who's taking care of your kids? Like, duh, they have a dad. But a lot of times people look down at women who leave especially young babies at home and go to work, especially travel work, because the expectation is that you're supposed to take care of the kids. So that's the only time I think that somebody was like, oh, like, you're a woman. Maybe another time I was interviewing for a job before I had kids, and then someone's like, what's your plan for like getting married or having kids? And I thought it was inappropriate.
Have you ever felt at rock bottom?
Yeah, I think probably a couple times. Like, I just kept taking on too much responsibilities for both like household and work and kids, and without a lot of support. So I think that like when you try to do too much by yourself in multiple areas of your life, that's too much. Like, we all need support, and that can come from family for some people who have a supportive family, or friends, or maybe you have to hire people if you can afford it, or even rely on services that are available. So I think that that's happened like one time before the pandemic, and then during the pandemic we were like all overwhelmed, but like a lot of the work that was like added from the pandemic conditions I had to do. So there was probably a couple times like that. And also like a couple times like in college, I took too many classes, and I was like they were too hard, and I felt like I was taking on too much. And then I turned for support. So yeah, there's probably a few times where I was just like deeply unhappy, and then I really had to change something or ask for help.
What do you do in your spare time, and what are you doing in your spare time right now?
So what I like doing in my spare time, I definitely love to travel and going on adventures. So I like exploring. I like exploring places I haven't been to or things I haven't done. And I just love like doing things that are, that are just interesting. And then when I can't travel, what I like to do is I like to explore what the city has to offer. So I'm going out to like shows. I really love seeing people perform. So doing like different type of performances. Maybe it's comedy, maybe it's dance or music, and just going out and seeing what type of original art people are creating, and then supporting their efforts. If I can't go out, I like to read or learn stuff. I really like to learn about new things, new technologies, but also just like reading about business or self-improvement, or how to be a better person. So those are the things I do.
Based on your experiences as a woman in this world, more specifically this country, what is something you would like to see change?
I think that we need to make a lot of changes to support women. I think that we've made some changes in the last 100 years to give women more rights, like the right to vote and the right to own things, but we're still a long way away to support women as mothers, especially. I think being a parent, it requires a lot more support, and our country could provide things like maternity leave, which is the time that after you have a baby, you need to rest to recover physically, and you need to also be able to take care of that baby. So we need to pay women, who especially women who are taking off work. We need to support them financially, and then we also need to provide preschool or daycare for women. Right now it's extremely expensive, and a lot of women drop out of the workforce to do that. We also just need to set expectations with employers to be more flexible, but also we need to ask men to be more supportive and take on more roles in the house. It's not women's job to do all of the household chores and childcare. And I think we need to be more equal and equitable. And the more we can support women, the more the economy will benefit, and the more women can contribute. And women have a lot to contribute. And it's been shown over and over that when women work and then they participate in running companies, the results are better.
Do you think there's anything else we should know about you?
I just had I've had an interesting path in life. I think that, one of the things that I would probably share is that, I know the things I know now, I wish I would have known when I was younger, like how things work out, but I still feel like I have a ways to go. So I think there's way more I can contribute to improve the world and improve things for other women. That's really important to me. And then, I think that we should all take more risks in life, and then have more confidence in ourselves to know that we're going to be all right, no matter what life throws at you. Is to just be, to solve the problems that come at us, and then to, when necessary, or not even just to ask for support, but also to offer support. So I don't know. There's not we covered a lot of stuff in the interview, so I think that's it.
Thank you for interviewing with me.